Hi, I'm Nick Shell, and you're watching this video because you would like to understand what inspired me to write my newest song called What's Mine Is Yours and Always Was. If somehow you've stumbled upon this video and haven't watched me perform the song, don't worry, there's a link right there in the description and it'll take you there and you can watch me perform it, which I filmed just moments ago here in real time. So a couple of days ago, within the past week, I wrote this song, and again, it's called What's Mine Is Yours and Always Was. And right now I'm going through this phase where I'm processing, as a father, what it's like to watch my son grow up. He's 12. This is the final year of him, technically still being a child before he becomes a teenager. And I think back to 12 years ago when I was a parent for the first time, how I've seen him grow up, watch that transition. And what inspired this ultimately, and you'll see this in other songs I've written, but not being given a choice to be born, and how we're thrown into life without much explanation. And so, I ultimately did that myself though when I had my first child. And so I wrote this ultimately for him to basically say, oh yeah, I guess we're kind of in this together. Here's the lyrics. I'm sorry, I never thought to ask, did you want to be born into this world where nothing is ever promised how long it will last? Was I lonely? Was it selfish of me to give you life when I'm confused by mine? This place is not exactly what I'd call paradise. And what inspired that part was when was married, and my wife and I, the next thing we'll have a kid, because that's the next thing you do. I'm in love with my wife. I obviously want to have a family with her, and I don't put a whole lot other thought into that, as far as what all this entails, bringing life into the universe when I'm still figuring out mine. So I wanted to have a verse that explained that perspective. And then this pre-chorus I've got says, one day is 1,000 years. And that's in contrast to saying this isn't what I'd call paradise, when in the Bible it talks about how a day in heaven can be like 1,000 years, etc., vice versa. So there's a play on words like that. So a play on that concept. One day is 1,000 years. Talking about how, especially as in parenting, you look back, you see your kids grow up, you see them get rid of these stuffed animals that he grew up with that meant so much to him. And so that's why I said a lifetime of souvenirs. Good memories to overcome our shame and fears. With me being certified in Enneagram, I'm very aware of how all of us ultimately are trying to overcome shame, fear, and anger. And choose an order, but that's ultimately how it works. The days are long and the years are short. I've seen it all, but there still is more. So for me as a 41-year-old man, I feel like I've seen most that there is to see in life, but I know there's still more. And this is the part where my son will begin taking over and exploring the new things that I want ultimately. So that's why I said, getting closer to the point where you can take it from here. And then for the actual chorus, obviously, this is almost word for word based on the Bible verse Jeremiah 29:11. And here's the way I put it in the song. I said, I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper, not to harm you, no, plans to give you hope. I know the plans I have for you, plans for a future. No matter what you do, I'm still going to love you. What's mine is yours and always was. What's mine is yours, it always was. So yes, that's a Bible verse specifically talking about where God was promising something to the Jewish people back in the Old Testament. What I'm doing is I'm saying, I can relate to that being a father myself, because I want these things for my son as well. So, I'm not claiming that I came up with that. I specifically took that and thought it relates here too as a father. And then for the other verse, the second verse, with my camera, I followed you your entire life. I hope you didn't mind. I may not be inside the shot, but I was always there. If I'm taking pictures of them, I'm not necessarily be in that photo, but I was the one who was taking it, so I was there. When you're older, I hope you look back and see the way I gave you all I had. I was always far from perfect, but I was always there. So this second verse is largely describing how since before he was born, I have been running a blog about his life. So as soon as my wife and I found out we were having our first child, I started a blog, and every week, every Thursday, today's Thursday actually, I write a blog post in the form of a letter to my son, and I share a photo of whatever he did that week, whatever was going on in his life. So imagine I've been doing that every week, minimum, sometimes more, since the time we found out we were having him, and he's 12 now. So I've been doing this for like over 12 and a half years that I've been doing this. And I take it upon myself to take as many photos as I can of him as I'm involved, not necessarily in writing his story, but being there, almost if I was writing a biography and taking all the photos for it. And that's ultimately what I'm doing. So on the internet, there's this whole blog, Family Friendly Daddy blog, Dear Jack, and then you can see all that. So my son's 12. He's not able to see necessarily that I'm a human being who has my own thoughts and emotions and fears and shame and anger, all this stuff that he's going to be encountering in life, all the question marks. He's not necessarily, because I'm just his dad. That's who I am. And on some level he understands this, but eventually he will be older and he will be able to see how much my life poured into his. So that's why I felt the best title for this song is What's Mine is Yours and Always Was. Because at a certain point in your own life, you start to fade out of the picture and it becomes about them. And so for me, being age 41, him being age 12, I'm starting to see that shift a little bit. And I'm happy to celebrate the way life changes like this. So, wrote this song very much from my heart. It's not only, another letter from father to son, but I feel like it's also a commentary on life. The current show I'm watching through for the first time right now on Netflix is called The Good Place, which is talking about the afterlife and embracing that. And something the main character had said as I was watching it this week was how we're always aware that we're going to die. We're always aware that things are coming to an end. We know that. And despite that, we make the most of life. Despite always having a sense of sadness within us, we choose to find happiness. We choose to celebrate things. We choose to make the most of it, despite not knowing when it ends, despite knowing it definitely will end, and despite not knowing how far in life we'll make it with the people that we currently have. So I wanted to celebrate that from a balanced perspective, what life is. Is it sad? Is it happy? Yes, it's both. And that's something we share with people. That's what this song's about. Again, if you haven't had a chance to hear me play it, click the link below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what I've said in these past 8 minutes about the song.